Hello everybody and welcome to this amazing video regarding the teaser trailer for Dead by Daylight's Chapter 7, Time is Running Out, released just today. I'm releasing this video a bit early so that I can cut in and put my prediction in before the developer stream. I'm also getting sick again with the flu. Apparently I got it a second time. My throat's a little rash. I do apologize, but let's power through this. So if you haven't already seen the new trailer for Chapter 7, please click the link in the description down below and watch it. It's only 22 seconds long and it drives the point home pretty hard. So let's address that this is obviously Saw, with the bear trap in the head and the time and let's play a game type deal here. It's obviously Saw, so we're going to be getting a killer from Saw, we're going to be getting a survivor from Saw. And truthfully, I don't mind that this is licensed material because I like that the licensed characters bring people into the game. They're brand new and it really helps the game out. So I'm not going to cry that we need another OG killer. We've already got plenty. I also like the license, I'm not going to complain either, and this is a relatively good surprise. Now let's figure out who the killer actually is from Saw and who the survivor will be.
You want to play a little game?
So if you thought that was going to be your killer, well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but that theory kind of falls flat on its ass just like he did. To be honest, there will be no tricycle riding characters coming our way, unfortunately, as funny as that is. We can reason this style of killer out for two simple reasons. First, that the puppet is never actually the killer that kills anyone on its own. The only time the puppet is known for some damage is when it does this. As cool as a face exploding attack would be, it is extremely doubtful that that is our killer, simply because that was a trap in and of its own and a test for someone completely. Otherwise, the puppet is just there to voice the rules and pretty much be the face so that nobody knows who the killer is. So it's not likely that the puppet's going to be used, especially since there's kind of a no voice rule. Even though Freddy is a very vocal character, you notice he never says "Welcome to my world, bitch," or "You're my bitch now, bitch." It's just, it comes down to that puppet is there to voice the rules, be the reason. However, that won't be the case. So no tricycle, I do apologize. So we have to take the time to ask who's the real killer. Oh wait, hang on. I think I got a clip of it. Let's check it out. There we are. That's my killer. What a sexy beast. As you can see, this is the only way that the Jigsaw killer from Saw actually ever interacted with anybody. A pig mask with a dark robe. This one in particular is red, as this is one of the first times we see this type of abduction. So there's been a ton of killers of Jigsaw that kind of donned the pig and the robe kind of ordeal. Even in the last movie, there were several at once. But being that there is a way for us to narrow it down and figure out who's coming to Dead by Daylight, we can finally kind of piece it together and figure out who the Jigsaw killer really is, and they'll be known as the Man-Bear Pig, or, sorry, wrong place, I mean the Jigsaw. Before I continue to establish the primary killers, understand this comes with a massive amount of spoilers, so if you have not seen Saw for any goddamn reason, and you want to, and you don't want it spoiled for you, please leave. Okay, thank you. Anyways, let's establish these three killers. We have John Kramer, the original Jigsaw killer, the one who pilots the whole thing and causes everything and drives the story. You have Amanda Young, the second known, well, in order of you discovering her, she's second known successor to Jigsaw. And then you have Mark Hoffman, who was technically a successor before Amanda, but is the third revealed successor in that order of Jigsaw. Now, I doubt it would be Amanda, and we can eliminate her immediately simply because she has played the survivor role more than anyone else. Her role as the killer didn't even last long and came to an abrupt end without having established a very strong role with a rival survivor to contend her. For this reason, she doesn't fit the rules of Dead by Daylight, and I don't see a moment where they can bring her in due to her death. Spoiler, I told you. Then we have Mark Hoffman, who is the only Jigsaw killer to actually kill freely without giving a chance to that survivor. He actually outright in cold blood killed people. He seems the most menacing, and even has Detective Strom as a rival survivor to him. So the only way I could disprove Mark Hoffman as the killer is to reveal who the survivor is. So I went looking back for some information that was given to us. We've been told one perk for the survivor that has given me the ultimate clue. That perk is tenacity, which allows survivors to crawl faster while in dying state and heal while crawling. I was curious about this perk since I didn't remember being revealed something, so I rewatched the VOD and, well, lo and behold, this is what they said.
And I want to talk about a perk for our survivor for the next chapter. But I cannot show you the icon because
spoiler.
There would be information in there that I don't want you to have. I do actually. I do want you to have that information, but I'm not allowed.
And there you have it. This revealed to me the reason they couldn't show the icon is because it is very possible that the icon is either of the survivor sawing their foot off or in a position that gives away possibly the survivor missing a foot. Something so iconic to Saw that you couldn't reveal it without giving the entire licensed content away too early. To look at all the characters within Saw, you really only have two that harm themselves in a way that cause them to crawl with tenacity. You have Lawrence Gordon and Eric Matthews. Yet it is not likely Eric Matthews since he simply chose to break his foot and pull it out of the shackles, where Dr. Gordon literally sawed his foot off. This leaves me to believe that since Dr. Gordon would be the only one to uphold the iconic name of Saw by sawing his foot off, but he also is the staple survivor as he is a massive part of the lore, being the literal survivor from beginning to end. So if Lawrence Gordon is the survivor, this brings me back to John Kramer, someone who is seeking out Lawrence Gordon to take him in for a game. And then this pulls back to how does it fit in the lore of both Dead by Daylight and Saw? As you see with Freddy and Leatherface, they tied into the movies very well. Myers may not have had that moment, but they did tie it into the lore, and lore has always been relatively consistent for how vague it's been. So my prediction in the lore would be that when John Kramer goes to abduct Lawrence Gordon and successfully does so, instead of making it back to his game, Lawrence Gordon and John Kramer both end up in the entity's realm. In the realm, being that John Kramer is not a particular direct killer of his own, it would only make sense that the trial itself that survivors must survive against other killers is the game that John Kramer now plays. A lot of people speculate that because John Kramer sets traps, that he is likely an alternative version of the Trapper, but I beg to differ because as far as John Kramer goes, he doesn't set just bear traps on the ground. He sets an entire game of traps, one that tests you the whole time. Likely that John Kramer has to be in this trial since he is the killer in the pig mask. I'm curious if his power will be something like sedation, where he then sets a trap directly on the survivor, giving them a certain amount of time to solve the puzzle or seek help to relieve them of impending doom. There's but one counter I have to myself, as far as Lawrence being the survivor, is that Amanda might be the survivor, simply because they put a heavy emphasis on the reverse bear trap, which she is known best for surviving, while Jill Tuck is known best for succumbing to. My money, however, is still on Gordon, as Lawrence Gordon has not died. He survived, whereas Amanda does eventually succumb to death. I do not believe the reverse bear trap is an emphasis on the survivor, instead an emphasis on the power of John Kramer, possibly setting the trap on a survivor's head he catches, giving them a brief time to attempt to seek help. Even though they put such emphasis on the reverse bear trap, I have the belief that they will still include Gordon instead, and allow the reverse bear trap to play a role for the killer. That might be the trap the killer gets, a power in which the killer may place on a survivor, giving them limited time, allowing the killer to seek out other victims. So when do we expect the new chapter to release? Well, I'm gonna guess it's going to be January 18th, just based off of how Nightmare on Elm Street was handled. Nightmare on Elm Street teaser trailer came out Wednesday, October 25th, and then the chapter came out on Thursday, October 26th. So I do not feel it is unheard of for them to release it just moments after I finish this video. I had to rush it kinda hardcore, but hey, at least I got my predictions out there and we'll see how good I am at calling it. Hopefully I am right. I put a lot of effort into thinking this through and I am pretty excited, honestly. I just pray that this will not be another Freddy incident in regards to a week later nerf. But if it does not come out on January 18th, my next prediction comes from this little number in the teaser trailer that points to 12-250. I don't think this means anything, but if it doesn't come out on the 18th, I think this might be the Easter egg date to 1 week later, January 25th, which also falls on a Thursday if they want us to wait for the hype and give us time to build the blood points. I just thought this is something I'd point out. I wasn't able to make out what any other of these numbers could have meant, but this is the closest I got to some detective sleuthing. On a final note, since this is a licensed character, do not expect this content to be free like the Huntress or Nurse. This is going to cost us some money, likely just as much as Myers, Freddy, Leatherface, $7 across the board in order to pay for the license itself. Before we begin to wrap this up, I wanted to make a small public service announcement to all the survivors out there in order to avoid a new Freddy incident. Please remember, a new killer is typically more powerful because you have no idea what they do. They will likely kick your ass for the next week or so until you realize what they are fully capable of and how to play against them. Please do not cry that you are losing. Please read what they do. Please look into what they do. And please do your best to show you can overcome some challenge. A new killer brings new counters. You will need to use your head. Please. I do not need to have another $7 of DLC that I waste my money on in order to just watch it be nerfed to the ground due to people unable to overcome a small challenge. Freddy was already proven to be the worst killer in the game, and people still cry he's overpowered. I know I am passionate, but please be patient and learn. So what do you think? What are your predictions? Quickly post them in the comments down below before the actual release so we can compare data and see who got what right and wrong. It would be very interesting to see what everyone came up with. Do you believe that he's actually going to be a tricycle puppet killer, or do you believe that it's a new game mode instead? I've seen a lot of theories out there, but I want to hope that mine was right. I put a lot of effort into thinking on how they would keep the lore consistent and the killer consistent with everything that is given. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, live or die. The choice is yours.